Hello, YouTube. So I had a chance to be on Instagram already, and I've had a chance to be on Facebook already, but I had to get on YouTube Live so I could share the QuiltCon conference, which is going on in Phoenix, Arizona. And I really want to share more of an in depth showing of the quilts. So if you're catching this on YouTube, please go on over to Facebook or Instagram to see the other bits that I've already done. But today I'm going to start with the youth quilts. So let's start here. And I'm going to turn this around because you're really not going to see much of me doing this at all. Let's see. Where is that button? There it is. All right. So first of all, I love the youth quilts and I love them being on exhibit because I love the fact that our youth are learning to appreciate different crafts and to express themselves with crafts. Just like us adults, our youth needs their outlets, their way in which showing themselves and what they're thinking, what they're going through, and just what they're experiencing in life. And I love this piece here that this um, young Ava has done. As you can see, she's appliqued down some beautiful clouds and some wonderful suns. And look at that quilting that she's done back in the blue. And look at all of the beautiful people that she has in her. I don't know if that's going to be her family, her playground, and all. But let's also look at the fun binding that she's chosen. That looks like an Anna Marie Horner type pattern right there. But look how she's even gotten a little bit more fun with the binding because she switched up the binding. So that's a popular thing to do, of course. And I love the fact that in her quilt, the tree is outstretching its arms, or maybe that's something hanging from the tree because it looks like folks that right there on the left hand side over here is reaching out to touch something from the tree. Well, and I love the heart that's in the middle of the tree right there as well. So, probably signifying the importance of trees to all of us on this planet, actually. And I love it. I just absolutely love it. And look how she got her green grass going on at the bottom, and she's even changed the quilt pattern there. So she's gone to swirls and loop-de-loops versus up in the cloud area, she has waves. So very intentional choice of her quilting and what she's conveying. And very well done. Hats off to the giving tree. See, the tree was giving like I thought. Look at this. This is a quite improvisational piece. It says me and my quilt. Look how Miss Little Iris has basically done a lot improvisational piecing, and in fact, her whole quilt ends in a quite improvisational shape as well. So the ending of that quilt goes right along with the theme of it. And as you can see, she's also changed out her binding color going all the way around. I love it. I've got some of that fabric that she has there in my stash. So I'm also loving the fact that we have a similar taste in fabric. So very well done, Miss Iris. Look at this Enderman quilt. Enderman quilt that must have something to do with. We'll have to look that up. A character of some sort. So this is little Mr. Patrick. I love the simplicity of it. So I'm taking that's eyes, maybe ninja eyes looking through. Very well done. I love it. And here we have the Rainbow Connection by Little Miss Reen. And I just love the fact that look how her color placement. Now, if y'all watched me on Instagram or Facebook when I did the live on the other quilts, some of the winners, one of the things I emphasized was the fact that color placement makes all the difference as well as the choice of your color palette. So look how the hues of her quilt go well together. And look how she's placed the rainbow going from her warms to her cool colors. And look, she's been leaving fun. She's got Santas in this fabric over here. She's got even some animals up there. I see reindeer in there versus flowers, and then some modern patterns all in there as well. And if you notice her quilting, she has chose to do traditional ties. Look at that, traditional ties in the quilt. I love it. So sometimes you could do the most simplest quilting to get your quilt done, but I think that her ties complement the overall look of the quilt. So well done, Miss Little Green. So look what we got over here, the Emily quilt. Oh, I love the Emily quilt as well. It's a triangle. She made the triangle quilt out of triangles. all modern fabrics. I see some Tula pinks all in there. Great colorway and choice. There must have also been some thought process about these ties because look at this in this overall green quilt by Little Miss Elizabeth. Um, she's actually, as traditionally was done, look at the yarn that's been used to tie. And she's tied not just a little knot, but little bows in each of the intersections. And I love it. So she's taken a traditional block layout and made a very cute quilt all in green. But if you look, hopefully the colorway shows it really good on the video with this lighting. She's gone all the way around with blue binding, which actually complements the yarn color that she's chosen, which is a little bit more on the, I would say, blue green scale. So that works out really good. So let's see what else we have around here. Oh, look at that ebb and flow. I love that. I love that modernism and the quilting here that Laura, excuse me, has done. And oh, I'm sorry. This is in the small quilts section. So this actually is not kids. I was about to say that would have been quite advanced for kids. Let me go on the other side and see if here's the more of the youth quilts, which they also can still be quite intricate. Just because someone's young doesn't mean that they can't do something intricate. And as soon as I turn that corner, this is what I saw. So not only is this intricate because of the piecing of the different size triangles and how they've been appliqued down in the pattern, but also note that within the quilting, there's triangles within the quilting as well. Love it. Very nice job done by Amelia. So we've got a small quilt there. We've got a beautiful puffy one there, which is titled Unperfect Orange. I wonder what the inspiration was there for Annabelle. So Annabelle is out of Pennsylvania, it looks like. So I'm going to have to look that up and try to figure out what the inspiration was for that one. But that looks very fun. So I think I've hit in the area of small youth quilts. So this is Felix's first quilt. And look at that. Well done, Felix. No matter whether it's your first or one of many, we're always happy to see our youth or any quilter actually finish a quilt. And then also to get it hanging up in an exhibit. An accomplishment there. Now have a look at how I'm going to use Riley's quilt here as an example. This is the Yoshi quilt. Look at how this youth has used embroidery stitches to quilt. So look at that. And I'm telling you, with a little practice, that embroidery work in the quilting is going to get better and better and better. Look at all that they have done. So it looks like that Youth Riley has completed their quilt from beginning to end wonderfully. Look at the beach sunset. Do you see it? I see it. I see the beautiful sky. So the end of day, and I know some beaches I've been on that have looked like that. Then you transition into the blue waters and into the sand. So again, wonderful quilt placement. Excuse me, color placement in the quilt. And look at that. The clouds are quilted in the sun. So there's still some clouds left in there. Great job by your youth. And I do encourage people to help our youth find a craft that they enjoy. Obviously, I'm a quilter and I'm a crocheter and I knit a little bit. So I am more on the textile side. So I love showing youth the textile crafts, but show them any craft, anything that gets them putting their phone and technologies down and using their hands and tapping into their creativity. Because as you can see in these quotes, a lot of these youths are just enjoying doing what they're doing, expressing what they're expressing, and just having fun. As it's not a importance as far as perfection or anything like that. It's just getting them started. So look at this simple. This is not quite a rail fence layout of this quilt. But anyway, it's just a nice, fun stripes, rectangles, and squares sewn together, simple pattern, and the color placement is intentional with that stripy layout, and it looks fantastic. And look, oh, absolutely. And look at love is the answer. Oh, Laureen Harris, you are so right. Love is the answer. Love is the cornerstone to so many things improving in all of our lives, just showing a little love, a little caring. And I love the fact that that is the theme of her quilt. Obviously, this is a rainbow quilt as well. And look how she has stitched in the word love. I just wanted you to see the technique that's been used. So that's a simple zigzag stitch. She's got a that looks like a yarn and a variegated thread, and she has stitched down the yarn with the zigzag stitch. And isn't that lovely? And then she's done simple straight line quilting. She's also appliqued down these colorful strips going diagonally. And that's it. That's her quilt. I'm sure she enjoyed making that lovely quilt. Absolutely hope she enjoyed making it. Now let's see what we got going on over here. 100 stitches to quilt. Okay, Lucas. Wonder with this. I'm gonna. There's got to. There's a. I could already tell. There's a lengthy story behind this. We look at that. All of that verbiage right there. So apparently, 100 stitches to quilt some sort of way. I'm sure 100 stitches is significant in this quilt, and there's all sorts of stitches every which way. So let's take a look at this up close. So we've got maybe a geometric shape here. We've got some ties. We've got some singular stitches. We've got a heart right here. We've got different stitches in each block, and maybe because of the title, there's 100 stitches white on white throughout this quilt. Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure Lucas had fun doing that. Now, of course, y'all know purple is my favorite color by now. So Purple Galaxy definitely caught my eye. The title as well as the look. Simple, let me see, that look like they're about maybe 8 inch or slightly larger, could even be 10-inch squares sewn together in a pattern. So if nothing else, I'm gonna keep repeating myself. Look at how the colors have been set. So they've started with the purple, then two negatives, two golden colors. Then diagonally, if you keep looking, you'll see that the purples have been placed in a grid layout versus the, I'd say, goldy yellow colors. And that is the layout. That's the layout that was intentional between the colors. And I'm gonna come up close because I have a feeling this youth also quilted their own quilt. Look at those quilt lines right there. So they didn't quite do stitch in a ditch, which would be a popular way to finish a quilt, especially for a first timer. But they have enjoyed it. Oh, the other thing I would note is in the quilting, they've gone all the way around the edge, all the way around. So that was a good way to do a top stitch all the way around. And if I had a white glove person here, I would beg to say that they finished this quilt with the inside out method, hence the top stitch just going all the way around. There's no border, no binding. So that is a quick way to finish a quilt. And that youth definitely used it. So this one is absolutely fantastic. You've seen her at festival as well. I know beautiful quilting, beautiful outfit as well, as far as the use of quilting techniques in her outfit. So she's busy being interviewed, so I won't go over there right now. So I will come back to that a little bit later. We're going to finish the rest of the youth quilts down here. So look at snapshot of who I am. Now, did I say earlier about how expressive these youths are? Just like adults are, quite frankly, with respect to you can express whatever you want to express in quilting. So no matter whether you want to express certain things through the patchwork, through embroidery, no matter whether embroidery is by machine or by hand, applique could be done by machine or by hand as well, where you want to express certain things within the quilting motif that is used in your quilt. Even in your color choice, there's so many design elements within quilting that you can use and use to your advantage, right? To use to express what you want. So this Ava, I wonder if this is the same Ava from the previous quilt because if that has been the same Ava, she has definitely been busy. So look at all of this foundation paper piecing work that's been done within the quilt. which is fantastic. And then within the quilt, there is some hand stitching. So right there, guacamole. So by the title, I have a feeling she loves her guacamole. She loves her mushrooms. She loves fish. She loves the sunshine. Sunshine. You are my sunshine is what's stitched right up there in those letters. And then there is the orange. So that must be a favorite animal. Now, I love the detail in the eyes. Do you see the detail in the eyes, the stars? See? Do you see the detail in the fuzziness? There's a fuzzy, almost like a minky or almost like a minky type fabric used in the ears, and even down to the lettering in the tree. We are all gifts under the tree. I love it. Fantastic job. I love it. And here is Space Ocean as well. This looks so fun. Look at, we've got a rocket labeled as 2024. We've got maybe a snake in the grass. Look at that sunshine that's been appliqued down as well. Look at the other spaceship, 2015. Now, again, look at the embroidery stitches that have been used to help applique down the shape. Look at the zigzag. Look at the straight stitching. Look at the, whatever stitch do we have running in here? Then we've got the shark in the water. So this tells a complete story, and I'm going to read this as you take another look at this because it says, I made this quilt because I wanted to go to QuiltCon. Sharks and snakes are my favorite animals. Techniques used, machine pieced, machine applique, machine quilted without a frame. So they basically quilted this on their domestic machine. Don't you love it? Now, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to show as well. Look at that binding. So, the way that binding is showing up basically tells me that Henry basically used his backing, so his background fabric, excuse me, backing fabric for the binding fabric. So this is actually a really easy technique to help finish your binding fast. So when you go to trim your quilt after quilting, you leave extra fabric. So if you want a 1/4 inch binding, you leave maybe say 3/4 of an inch, fold it twice, and then another time around and bring it to the front. Or you could just fold it once, and that way you just need a 1/2 inch if you want your binding to be a little bit thinner. And then you just fold it to the front, and then you stitch it down just like Henry has done here. So let me just come in and zoom in right here so you can see the stitch right there. So he went very carefully all the way around to make sure that his binding was stitched down. So great technique, great way to finish your quilts, especially when you're in a bind, literally. Ah, look at this, Genesis, the endless possibilities of beginning. The title of this is The Beginning, and the youth who made it is Genesis Hall. I love all of the symbolism in that. I'm thinking that is Genesis in the image, so that's a pixelated quilt pattern. I will try my best to leave a link to where you can get your pictures pixelated so that then you can make a quilt out of them. I love the fact that Genesis also has given us, it looks like almost like a Bible verse. The endless possibilities of beginning sounds like something that could be scriptural, but most importantly, something of faith and inspiration and prosperity, so to speak. The other one here is golden geese. Loving this. Now, see, what I love about a lot of these quilts is the fact that the youth have, looks like the youth have quilted their quilts themselves. They've gone in and just had fun. And look at the consistency of these stitches that this youth, whose name is Emma Dean, very good job, Emma Dean, absolute fantastic job, because she just went in there, did it. It looks like that's an individual member of the Quilt Guild. I'm sure that she has some good help from people who absolutely wanted to see her succeed. Just love that. I love it. There's a lot of adults I know who don't take an opportunity to try to quilt their own stuff. So I just love it to see the kids just be fearless and getting in there. Now look at this rainbow gelato by ooh, Zaffarin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Out of Jersey. Absolute wonderful quilt. Look at the top. Look at the hand stitching that's been used. And instead of burying the threads, the the ends of the threads have intentionally been left to the front. I love that. To see, so some people would say there's a rule that says, bury your threads. I've certainly buried all of my threads. I love that clean look, but you know what? Now I'm inspired by the rainbow gelato because guess what? There are no rules. You make the rules up on your quilt if you're sitting down making it, and it could be whatever you want it to be. Now, I do love the purple binding as well, so I think that complements it quite well also. And the other thing I will note is that what has happened is they've changed the color of thread. So you see that the thread color is pink at the top and green at the bottom. So I'm loving that. Great job. Great, great job. And that's an actually good size quilt too. All right. So I think this is the last aisle for the youth. So we're going to have a little bit more fun with our youth. Now look at that pink thunder. Now let me just stand back and I'm going to take a look at this because I'm going to describe the piecing that I think was used to do this because I'm loving it and I can really see it very well in the image through the media versus me looking straight at it, from where I'm standing and seeing it here live in person. So look at first of all what they've done is they have these triangles. And there's a triangle within the larger triangle, which is fantastic. That's come together for that four patch. But on this four patch, you see that this is the first segment or first patch, and then that's the other four. So you've got a four patch within a four patch, four triangles making up that four patch. This complements that, and then that four patch. Sorry, that four patch complements that one. So I think it's fantastic, and I also love the fact that that serpentine stitch, which that serpentine stitch is on a lot of sewing machines. Even the older sewing machines that have very few stitches have this serpentine, and just look how simply the serpentine stitch has been used to go complete all over the quilt. And this is a very good size quilt that you could do on a quilt on the domestic machine. So hands off to Lydia for doing such a great job. And the other thing I will highlight is that a variegated thread has been used. Ah, yeah. See, that's the thing you love when you come and see these in person, you just pick up the beautifulness that's been done. Now, earlier I said there was a quilt where I could tell that the front had been flipped from the back to the front in order to stitch down the binding. And I will tell you, even though you see stitched stitches here on this binding, instead of that being the technique that made this one, I would say what it was done was it was just machine binded, and they did a very good job. If you were here and able to kind of take your eyes all the way around, you'll see that there was very consistent stitching, and that is, first of all, let's just give a kudos where kudos are needed. Points are pointing, very few are lost. And if I didn't, I'm not even going to point out to you where the ones that are lost at, because if you can't tell where they are, then they don't exist, right? Now, look at this modern sampler from Georgia. Let me see. I think in the sample, because when I think of a sampler, I think of a certain type of quilt, which is consisting of several different blocks that, from a skill builder standpoint. But actually, a modern sample means something different to this youth, and it may be the fact that some triangles have been used, some squares have been used, some rectangles have been used, and some improvisational quilting is definitely in there. So, hey, sampler means something different to the individual, and I'm glad that they expressed what it means to them. Now, this is from Miss Hazel, the Unicorn Quilt. Ah, I'm glad I read that title because now that forces me to come in closer, and now do you see her unicorn with the horn and all? And the unicorn seems to be in a field. So I'm taking all of that to be the field. And then they've transitioned to the pink, which makes it be mountain ranges. And maybe that blue there, that purplish blue, may be a bit of the sky. I don't know because, the grass is right down there at the bottom. How unique. How unique That is indeed. I love it. That's her unicorn. Well done, Miss Hazel. So let's look at a few more of these wonderful youth quilts. I definitely see the kaleidoscope in that kaleidoscope quilt. Obviously, the blues and purples are working for me. I love it. Well done. Yeah, wonderful work done out of South Carolina. Ooh, convergence. Well, I'm an engineer, so that word caught my eye. Let me see if I can get the understanding of why the title of this is convergence. It may be because of the block used and how all are coming towards it, towards a center. So let's see. Let me hope you see where the block is. The block is actually I had to get close myself to see where the block was, just to make sure I had it correct. So this is actually the block. And four of those are coming together with a sashing in the middle and there's a cornerstone there. So now do you see it now that I've followed the seams? Now that I've followed, all you got to do is follow the seams to figure out where the block is. So let me do that one more time to make sure that you see it. So here I can see that the seams here, I can see the seams here, and I can see the seams here and here. So this block is basically set on point, and because of the sashing and the cornerstone, there's a convergence to this middle by these four blocks. So now I definitely get the meaning of the quilt days. And I love the quilting that's been done. You could definitely tell that this was done by hand as far as the quilting. It was done on a machine, excuse me, but the person did it on a machine themselves. And it versus it being computerized. And I love the fact that the binding has been is coordinated based off of the sorry not coordinated the binding has been made from the scraps that have been left over from the beautiful batiks that have been used in the quilt itself. So all around well done. Pastel playground. I love it. Very well done. A youth coming out of Dublin, Ohio. I had to read that twice because I was like, wait a minute, Dublin, Ohio. Didn't know there was a Dublin, Ohio. Great job, though, on this pastel playground titled Quilt. Look at that simple uh, grid quilting. I will tell you this, though, that took up a lot of time. Now, the circles and squares are laying on top, so they've already been appliqued down before the quilting obviously was done. But of course, the quilting is helping to secure all of the applique pieces down because of that grid technique. Now look at Greta's first quilt. I love it. I love it when their name is actually in the title. So Greta apparently loves no other than Dr. Seuss. So I love the fact that the various Dr. Seuss fabrics have been used in this quilt and the fact that it just looks fun. It looks absolute fun. I also love the wavy lines that have been used in the quilting. So let me zoom in so you can see how they're not uniform to each other. They're varying with the width that's in between them, and they're just going right across. That's actually similar to some quilting I learned last night in my quilting class. And I tell you this, Greta did a better job on her first quilting than I did. I can tell you that. I did not tackle no wavy lines on my first quilt. Anyway, let me come around to the very, let me see, I think this the first one should actually be the first place winner. And as we saw that that young lady, it was a bit older than some of the other youth who placed in this category. But look at this work. That is time and dedication, not only to the piecing, but look at the quilting all over this quilt. That is some amazing quilting all throughout this piece. And I'll tell you, that is fantastic. So I'm going to end right there. There is my last bit. So I'm going to end right here. I hope y'all enjoyed watching me walk through and discussing some of the youth quilt. And I, again, as I said, encourage all of you all who are out there who are crafters. I don't care what your craft is or hobby is. Please pick up a youth. Please share your hobby, your craft with them, and let's inspire the next generation to be makers and creators. Let's help them understand how to use their creativity, express that creativity in whatever format that you're teaching them. And certainly for those who are in, like myself, who are in the textile arts, we know that there's some amazing things that we could show them. So it doesn't matter whether we enjoy embroidering, appliquing, patchwork, or quilting. Any part of the textile world is something that's worth teaching and sharing and inspiring them as well as much as possible. And I will tell you this is one of the things I see or hear all the time is that our youth get bored or they're not interested. Well, you know what? Keep showing them anyway. Keep showing them anyway, because what we understand as adults is that our creativity, our use of our hobbies and our crafts help us with our mental health. It helps us to forge friendships and relationships with some very special people in our lives. So there's a lot that our crafts and our hobbies do for us that is not talked about nearly enough. But those are the things we know that our youth need when they get older. So teach them now so they have the basic skills when they get older. Now I'm going to end this cast and I'm going to start a new one because I think I want to go through the community outreach section and share that with you as well. So I'm going to finish this one right now and I'll start another one in a few minutes after I get a little drink of water. Talk to you later. And where is that end button? There it is.